Okay then, hi then folks, back again. Nice little quick one for you, hopefully here. This is the new Airfix release. It's finally arrived. A lot of Airfix releases seem to come with a big fanfare, and the other ones just, there's nothing and nothing, and it just pops up suddenly. Here we are. So this is Airfix's latest release, the 148th DEHAVILLAND Vampire F.3. Kit number A06107. Say 148th design. Usual warning across one side, the Cartograph and BAE Systems logo, so that's a good sign. Over here we have some bump about the kit, which will be 195mm long and 250mm wide, so smallish by 148th standards. Bit of a bump about the kit itself, 124 pieces, not too complicated, not too simple. Looks like we've got 3 options in the box, that's pretty good. And the usual Airfix flying bits and bobs. Let's have a look, shall we? So, straight away, there's a bit out of the way. Looks like we've got the usual Airfix one bag. I won't comment about it again, it's getting boring. But seriously, Airfix sorted out. Straight away to the decals. Again, these do look like possibly be Cartograph, I don't know. But they look really nice. Minimal carrier film. We've got some basic stencils. We've got some bits for the cockpit if you prefer to do those. A few more complicated ones there. We've got what looks like. Don't know what's going on there. We'll find out soon. Okay, we have all sorts of bits in colour. This is interesting. What's going on here? Right. Oh, I see, because we've got 3 options, haven't we? So we have this big fold-out sheet here, which shows the one option, which is, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but the museum in Oslo in 2019, so that's obviously a warbird. That looks pretty nice, pretty simple, very nice, clean, just silver all over, job done. Some nice roundables, and away you go. Then we have another colour sheet here, again about A3 size. We have this funky looking Canadian one from 1949. Nice orange tip, red tips everywhere. Looks like we've got an actual vampire nose art, which is pretty cool. Those are ears, not eyes. Those are the eyes, those are ears. Pretty cool. Generally still 11 silver, of course, or high speed silver. Again, don't forget a lot of these sort of post-war aircraft, they look like they're bare metal, they're not. They are painted silver. So that was quite nice. And then we have a fairly more standard British one here, which is from 1952 and 601 Squadron. Again, fairly simple in the silver. So 3 different silver options, but they all look quite nice. Quite like the Norway. Did I say Norway? Norway, wasn't it? Yeah, I quite like that Norway one. Right. We have the instructions. So what I'm going to try and do, I think, is rolling camera, so I'll sit down for it. So we have, again, a little bit of bump about the aircraft itself. So slight post-war early jets. Speed, etc. On inside we've got the usual health and safety, and then we're going straight into the build, which is not the cockpit. I know. Right away at the very beginning you need to decide whether or not you have this undercarriage up or down, as you will be taking different steps, different options, and whether or not you use the tanks or not. It looks like we have intake trunking going together with a wing spar, which also includes part of the wheel bay. Again, it's these new style instructions with the red sections and green sections, etc., telling you exactly where you're going. So that all looks quite nice, liking that. Again, then continuing on to the rest of the wheel well, and what looks like the exhaust instead So 2-part exhaust there. Sort of shock cone, another wing spar section. So we've got two. It's going to be nice and solid, that's for sure. All going together there, and then we're in the cockpit. This is going to be the latest I think I've looked at a cockpit in any aircraft build ever. Step 14. Wow. So it looks like we've got a choice of chairs, depending on whether or not your seats, whether or not you're using the pilot figure or not. Is there a pilot figure, or is it just if you could if you wanted to? Otherwise, you've got the belts. Oh yeah, C51, there he is. You got the belts already moulded on that. Pardon me. That seat there. Let's put the phone. Cockpit bulkhead going on. Again, if you have the pilot going in, he goes in now. Then you've got the side instrument panels and the control stick. And then we're starting to build up the nose wheel, nose bay, of which it looks like the cockpit is part of. Oh, looks quite interesting how it's all tilting through into all that. So as long as it all goes together, that should make quite a strong box section at the front. We've got some smaller sections going in here around the engine, and then we've gone to these twin booms. Now obviously with an aircraft like this, a Venom, a Vampire, anything along those lines, it's all about whether or not it will go on straight, and truthfully we'll have no idea until building. But it suggests at this point to put the booms together and put them on the aircraft. I'll probably have to build two just to be sure, like do it separately and then put it on in one piece, or do it like the instructions, who knows. We've got some more bits going into the cockpit even later on, now building up some side pieces and the instrument panel, or the middle of the instrument panel I should say. Again from different views, showing you which ones. What's the difference there? Oh, it's whether or not you use the decal or you just sort of brush paint. I've got a little tiny aerial going in there. I think I'll try and figure out how to do that later. I know I'd break that off. Rather cool. We've got a sort of see-through section here showing how it will look when the top goes on. Nearly done, actually. No, we've got a fair bit to go here. Nose going on, again, not forgetting the weight. That is very, very important for this aircraft, or it will tail us, I promise you. Then we've got the actual tailplane in the centre going in, sort of squeezing in the booms there. So make sure these joints here are nice and solid, so it'll all stretch out. Yeah, and rudders, etc. going on. And then we look like we've got some flaps. Again, options, depending on whether or not you're doing up or down. I have to know a little bit more about vampires to know, should they be sat up or down? I don't know. Where's the fun anyway? And again, more details going in. If you're going to have them all unfolded, they look like they're going to look really, really cool actually. There's a lot of detail going on in there. I think you'd have to pose them open, I think. Then we've got the undercarriage going on. If you, of course you're doing undercarriage down, again looks like there's quite a lot going on there. It's going to be pretty cool. Multi-part sections all going together. But of course, when it comes to painting, it's going to be very easy because literally everything is silver. I think I'm going to buy one of those Humbrol 11 rattle cans. I think. Wheels going on together. Looks like we've got a little flat spot there, which is pretty cool. Undercarriage doors going on. Again, multiple part nose wheel going together. Again, looks like there's a flat spot, which would be nice to see. Then that's going in. A little oleo leg there. Then we've got tanks going on. Wing tips. Don't forget those. Easy to forget those are towards the end there. And we've got some more ailerons there. And then we're on to finishing touches. So we've got some little aerials going on there, a little bit from behind the cockpit, more tiny little aerials and such. And we've got some small transparencies going on, hood going in, front cockpit, rear cockpit. Again, options for open and closed. Nice. Okay, let's have a look, shall we? So again, as normal, Airfix, one bag. Okay, so apologies, the camera cut out slightly there as I was opening the box, but let's take a look at the parts. So, first of all, we have a nice big sprue here with the underside, where we've got some nice simple pan lining going on there. No tons of rivets everywhere. Guns at the front, pretty simple. And some nice detailing at the back there. And then we've got the booms, which again maybe looking a little bit soft, but look quite nice. I'm liking this chunky system here to make sure everything's all straight. So that's looking pretty good. On the other side, we have got a lot of ejection marks that might need to be cleaned up. There's quite a lot going on the inside here. Obviously these ones inside the booms won't matter. But perhaps some of the others, especially like around here in the wing, they might. I probably want to give them a quick clean up so that nothing fouls. Let's go with it there. And we've got the top wing, which looks really quite nice. Again, nice and simple. We've got some cool little latches and stuff for the engine bay. A bit of a shame that the engine isn't part of the kit, being 1/48, but again, obviously there's some ejection marks on these things. These are all be internal. You won't see any of this at all, apart from these cool little details here. They're supposed to be there, so that's looking good. What I am liking, yep, I'm right, is the intake trunking doesn't have anything in it at all. I don't see, because they're all external. Why they can't do this more often, I don't know. Got some lovely detail. It's going to be inside the air brake flaps and undercarriage bays. That's all pretty cool. And again, more of the shock cones. You won't see it properly, but there you go. Okay. Then we have a smaller part sprue with, for some reason, 3 intakes. Not sure why there's 3. There must be another one somewhere, maybe. The nose and instruments, again, for the sides and the main instrument panel. Looks like there's 2 different options, so worth keeping an eye on which one's which. I think this one looks slightly more detailed, so I think this one's the one if you're going to paint it, and that's the one if you're just going to lie the decal straight over the top. So might be worth trying. Seats, as I say, 2 options, one with belts, one without. And then we have the pylons for the tanks, which actually has a little bit of flash on, but it's pretty much the first bit that I've seen. Got some smaller details here, sway braces and aerials and stuff. All looking quite nice. Looking at the back side, I do see one potential issue. So this is the tail plane. These chunky things go into these, which is fine, but again we have a matching ejection mark, which will have to be sanded away to make sure that actually mates with that quite well, which is kind of annoying. Everything else looks good. They have gotten very, very close to punching through. I don't know if you can see that. There they go. See that in the light? I can't feel anything though, so I think they've got away with it. Might be worth checking yours, make sure they haven't punched through. Well, it's all on the flat, so I suppose if you did have to fill it, it wouldn't be too bad. And then we have another sprue here with smaller items again. We have our pilot figure. Looks quite a modern one, so perhaps not necessarily correct for the 2 options that aren't the Norwegian one. But obviously the tiny little details, they're all looking pretty swish. Same very little flash on any of these. Again, we've got lots of sections where they've printed off the injection moulds off the actual part, which is nice. That's the cockpit floor and back. Quite tight in there anyway. Again, the back sides don't really matter on really most of these parts, but it does look as though the wheels do have a little flat spot on, which is quite nice. Some detail on the inside of the doors. I am liking how, again, the wheels have this sort of not round hole, if you will, which means, of course, you can't get them like the wrong way. Ow, that looks painful. Sorry. So you can't get the wheels like the wrong way up or anything like this, especially for any of you who've done like World War II and World War I stuff, your tail draggers and that kind of thing. It's really easy to get the flat spot in the wrong place, so you can't do that there, which is quite nice. That kind of bereft detail though. I could have gone a little bit further with them. Maybe the aftermarket people will go wild, but they're perfectly serviceable. They'll do quite nicely. And again, on the exhaust again, no ejection marks on the inside either. So that looks quite nice. Okay then, well. Airfix is better. No, they're not. I haven't looked at the transparencies. So, very quickly. These are pretty simple. Small part here. So we've got one little bubble canopy here, which looks nice and clean. I see a bit of distortion on the sides, maybe. No, that's all right. And the front looks crystal clear. Yeah, it's looking nice. Small parts again for wingtips, etc. Yeah, look quite nice. Liking those. So no massive surprises with this kit, to be honest, apart from the construction process. Not starting in cockpits and stuff, I'm starting on internals. But overall, I like the look of it, to be honest. It should build to a handsome little kit. It is worth shopping around, I've noticed already. Prices do seem to be varying quite a bit, so have a good look around. But if you like your Cold War jets, go buy one. Looks like it's going to be quite a nice little kit. Typical of Airfix, it looks like if you build it straight out of the box, it'd be quite a nice quick build. Construction looks simple enough. Painting, of course, is very, very simple. But at the same time, you've got quite a nice base for super detailing if you want to go mad. So, yeah. Heartily recommend one. Go get one. See you guys later. Bye-bye.